Good morning, internets. It is a kind of really pretty morning, if a little blustery here in Las Vegas. It is 59 degrees at the moment. I started out the morning with 36 miles of battery-only range, according to the Guess-O-Meter on my 2012 Chevy Volt Premium. Really quick, before I get into today's topic, I want to talk to you guys a little bit and say thank you to everybody who's been educating me on this little Guess-O-Meter. I was worried that there was something wrong with my batteries. But you guys pointed out to me that I do a lot of highway driving, and this thing's making, it's making an inference based on my past driving habits, and I am on the freeway the majority of the time, and this car does not really excel on the freeway. It's more for getting around town street to street driving, and it's pretty great for that, which brings me to my actual topic for the day, which is the 10,000 mile review of the 2012 Chevy Volt Premium. I haven't done one of these in a little bit, but I recently rolled over to 10,000 miles that I've personally put on the vehicle. Now, this car came to me with just shy of 60,000 miles on it when I bought it, and it is now coming up on just under 70,000 miles. So it's been 10,097.3 miles, and it's been 135.8 gallons of gas. Now, that sounds like a lot, and that's because it is a lot, because I have to gas up once or twice a month in this car. Now, I know a lot of people who have the Volt can go 1,000 miles and not have to gas up. Their motors will actually start running in maintenance mode just to burn off old fuel to keep it from going bad in the tank. And that's actually the ideal situation, because my average mile per gallon for the amount of time that I've been driving it is 74.3 miles per gallon. Now, that compared to an ICE car is stellar. For EV life, not super amazing, and I'll tell you what the reason for that is. I have, on the highway about 35 miles of range on the battery only thing on this. I work 28 and a half miles away from where I live for the time being. So when I get to work, I've got just a couple miles left on the battery, and then nearly my entire commute home is on the generator. And hasn't been anything that I can do about that. This has saved me a tremendous amount of money in fuel, though. The amount of money that I would have been spending on fuel is just around, it's almost the car payment. The car payment's a little more, but eventually I won't have the car payment, and I'll still be saving that money on fuel. So, I'm pretty happy about that. I was gassing up the Passat, which was my last car, once a week, and that was between $50 and $60 to fill that tank. So that was, we're talking $200 a month or more, and God help me if I travel. And that's one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about the Volt. I travel. I do not live near my, I don't have very many living family members, but the ones that I do have are all far away from me, for my blood relatives. My married family is all here in Las Vegas right now, which I'm exceedingly grateful for. But if I want to see my dad, if I want to see my sisters, if I want to see my brother, if I want to see my Grammy, I got to travel. And that means one of two things. I'm either driving to LA or I'm driving to Washoe County up northern Nevada. And in order to do that, I got to be able to get in my car and go. Now that I've done a complete road trip up to Reno and back again, and we already went over this a little bit with my road trip videos, explaining to you guys, I documented that, how the car did. It averaged, I think at the end of the road trip, it was 35 to 40 is where it hovered, miles per gallon on the generator, just, driving it 9 hours straight. So now that the novelty of the car has worn off, now that, my initial, I bought a new car, new to me car, and I'm so excited is worn off, what are some criticisms that I have? This is not the best road trip car. Now, from a standpoint of easy to drive and comfortable seating position, and can I ride around in it all day? Yes, absolutely. It's a perfectly comfortable vehicle to drive. And I didn't have any problems from that department. I got myself a little messed up, a little stiff, a little hurt on the road trip, but that was my own fault because I just drove straight. I didn't stop unless I absolutely had to use the bathroom or I absolutely had to put gas in the car, and that was all I stopped for. I ran to the bathroom, then I ran back. I didn't take any time to stretch because I was by myself. I was like, let's see what kind of time I can get. That was foolishness. And I am not 19, and I need to get out of the car every 2 hours and stretch. Like, I need to admit that my joints need that, and just suck it up and take the longer road trip. That was my fault, though. The car itself was extremely comfortable. The mileage, man, not impressed with that. And I thought that on the way back I would have some more regen opportunities, but you know, you just really don't have regen opportunities on the 95 coming south from Reno. You just don't. They're not there. You would need a really, really steep decline to go down, and you would need to be able, it would need to be steep enough that you could maintain safe speed all the way down, or not like just be slowing down to 40 miles an hour. So, and with no time spent, you know, braking or decelerating in low mode or any of that, there's no opportunity to regen, so you're just running on that little motor, and that little motor gets less good mileage than my Saturn Ion did. When it was just the generator running for hours at a time, the mileage in this thing is actually less good than an 04 Saturn Ion, and that's, I can say that from comparable experience, because when I was hypermiling in that thing, I was able to get that thing right up around, and that had a lot of miles on the motor. God, I think when that car got totaled, it was well up over 150,000 miles, maybe closer to 2. Yeah, that was a high mileage car, and despite the tiredness of that motor, it just kept right on ticking, and we had to put a new coolant system in it, but that was pretty much it. And the thing, it got great mileage if you treated it right. It actually got better mileage than this does, and you know, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. The Saturn was a plastic car, like literally all the body panels on it were this like Rubbermaid plastic material, which is great because wherever you park in a parking lot, you don't have to worry about a shopping cart hitting it because it's not dentable, and that was kind of neat. But this is just so much more comfortable. I have heated seats, and I am like, my butt is warm right now, because when I came out of the gym, it was like I was freezing, and so I hop in my car, turn on the heated seats. Oh, so nice. Most of the time, 99% of the time, I am not driving across country. I'm not driving, you know, the 4.5 hours from Vegas to LA. I'm not driving the 9 hours from Vegas to Reno. Most of my life is spent in the Las Vegas Valley. Now, that having been said, Vegas is a really big place, and I live on one end of the valley and I work on the other end of the valley, and this is still better mileage than I would be getting if I were driving a regular ICE car. Being able to at least knock out half of my commute, like the first half of my commute on electric only, that's a huge savings in gas, and it's a huge savings in emissions. It is. And I got no complaints about that. The reason my mile per gallon average here is so low is because there have been road trips. Like, I have taken the car out on the highway and just beat the absolute death out of it. You know, I set the cruise at 78 and do that for 4 hours at a stretch. You know, you're not going to get the best mileage, and it's all about averages. And you know, that totally killed my average. Before that trip to Reno, my average was hovering right around 90, so 90 miles per gallon, and that's, you know, that's really not bad. As for the day-to-day, like, does this thing still suit my needs? Absolutely. I have so many things that I need to do. I have so many people that rely on me to be so many places, to do things, to bring things, to get things, to transport people, and this car meets all of those requirements still. I have not had a trip to the store that I couldn't do in this car, and we should have gotten footage of this, but right after we first got the car, we replaced a toilet in my father-in-law's house. So, you know, Rob says, "What car do you want to take?" And he's like, "We don't want to take your car." You just, like, I had it for like 3 days. I was like, "No, let's take the Volt. Let's see what happens." And we took it to Home Depot, put the seats down, and we're loading hardware into it, and a full-size tall toilet, big porcelain thing, and like just put the seats down, and Rob and I lifted it in there, and it no issues whatsoever. Like, it was a work truck that day, moving all the tools and everything, and I couldn't have been happier. Like, there's spots for tie downs back there. It's totally practical. And whenever somebody, like, I started to take the interior for granted in this car, I've been told by other Volt people that this interior leather package with the tan leather and the teal stitching and the tan and chocolate combo is actually one of the rarer options. And whenever new people who haven't been in my car yet get in the car, they're always like, "Oh, it's so nice in here. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is so nice in here. It is nice in here. It's a happy place. And it still makes me happy every time I get into it. So are there some things that I would change? Yeah, absolutely. If I could get better range, yeah, of course. But like every EV, ERV, and hybrid owner would say the exact same thing. Like, what's the one thing you change about your car? I would want even more mileage. I want even more range. More is never enough. But you know, on days when I'm not doing the crazy commute, but I still have 90,000 errands to run, because on the weekends, guys, it piles up. And I have anywhere at a minimum of one, but usually anywhere from 2 to 4 different car shows that I like to go to on the weekends. Plus all of the life stuff that piles up. You got things to get, shopping to do, people to visit, stuff that needs to be, I don't know, moved around, gotta do this, you know, and you know, in the middle of all that, hey, let's go get the grandbaby and go to the park, go run around, go do some stuff. For all of that stuff, which is like short trips and a lot of stoplight to stoplight action, I drive this thing all day long and never run the range out. What else could, I don't know, what else could you want? Now, the commute that I'm driving right now on my way to my teaching job is not going to be a factor much longer, because I am not going to have my teaching job much longer. I'm actually making a career change, and it's an emotional decision, and it's a difficult decision, but the more I think about it, the more it's the right decision. It's time for me to go do something else. I do not like the way that educators are being treated in this country. I don't really see an end to the madness. I only see increasing nonsense, and I don't want to have arguments about with people about whether or not I or any of my coworkers or anybody else other than a trained police officer should be having a gun in a classroom with children. I think it's a stupid argument. I don't think that in the event of an extreme emergency, the addition of more bullets is the solution. And the fact that that's even a subject of conversation among our legislators and among my fellow educators means that I no longer have anything in common with this line of work anymore. And I don't feel super great about it, but in addition to that, I also deserve a living wage. I also deserve to not live the rest of my life in debt. I deserve to pay off my student loan someday. I deserve to own a home. I deserve to not live in fear of financial stress and worry. And so I'm going to make the changes that I need to make in order to attain the things in life that I deserve. And I can no longer do that as an educator. It's time to move on, and in a few weeks I shall, and I'll tell you guys more about the new project later, but that's what's going on. And so that's an update. That's my 10,000 mile review of the Chevy Volt. Awesome car if you don't want a road trip all the time. And even if you do road trip once in a while, not bad, totally comfortable, really great purchase, saves me a lot of money in gas, safe, comfortable, easy to drive, great sound system, excellent sound system. And I just really, really like it. And then, oh yeah, I'm retiring from teaching and moving on. So those are the things that are happening today. And if you guys have any questions about any of the things that I've shared today, or if you have anything to add about your Volts, y'all with new Volts, the second gen Volts, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. How you liking your cars? A lot of you already have, and I love that you guys do that. I love that you share things with me. I've had a few people send me pictures of their cars recently, and I am just delighted. When you send me pictures of your cars, whether they're ICE cars or EVs, I don't care. I have an Instagram for each. So ICE cars are going on Car Stuff with Katherine. EVs are going on EVs of Nevada on the Instas, and go ahead and email to either email address. And thank you guys so much for keeping those things coming. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Does anybody have a first gen Volt? And how much are you still loving that? Or are you not? And why? Let me know all that stuff. And I think that's gonna about do it. Oh yeah, and if you guys have any more questions about the teaching thing, I have a lot of you who have been extremely supportive, and everybody's been so supportive and kind and involved with me and my life, and I've been blown away by the amount of kindness and generosity of time that you guys have shown, because when you're watching my channel, that's time that you're giving me. That's time that I feel like we're spending together. And whatever the length of the video is, you know, that's 15 minutes of your day that you gave to me that is irretrievable, and I value that. So if you guys want to know anything else, I'm happy to share, and please let me know all that stuff in the comments down below too. And it's been a while, so I just want to remind you guys that I love you all great big bunches. And also, Alyssa, I love you, and I haven't talked to you in a minute on the videos, but I know that you're watching Bugaroo, Buggenstein, Buggerella, Bugoluminescence. So go ahead and text me, text your dad. And I think that's going to do it today. So if everybody can just have a really great day, that'd be awesome. And if this is your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing right over here. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Here's some other videos I think you'll enjoy right down here. My name is Katherine with EVs of Nevada. Everybody keep moving. Keep it a good day. Please remember to like, subscribe, and smile.